SEO This Week. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of SEO This Week presented by Digitaleer. I'm your host, Clint Butler, and this is episode 51, where we're going to talk about TV on Facebook, some SEO worksheets, copy, A-B testing, and a whole lot more. So welcome to episode 51, SEO This Week. All right, so now that awkward introduction is out of the way, I'll welcome you to episode 51. I skipped a week because I was at a Google conference, and they kind of want to start off sharing that information with you. So let me go ahead and dig out my notes. I'm going to go not really too quickly through this, but just kind of give you the highlights of some things that I learned. So basically what it was 4 days at the Google Seattle office. Started at 9, stayed there till 4, sat in 2 hours traffic to get there, sat in 2 hours traffic to get home. But really it was worth it for me, not only in the some of the networking with the other agencies in the Seattle area. Met a couple guys from Idaho. Met some agency guys from Salt Lake City. So it was, it was good for the networking, but we also got some good information out of it from Google. So with that, I'll go ahead and go into this. First day opened off the entire thing with the quote: "Is data without a story is useless." Now they use this in part of the AdWords training that we did. It was 2 days. We did nothing but we looked at AdWords and stuff, and it's interesting to hear how they're looking at the data that they collect and then being able to actually turn that into a story. Like, what does the data mean? So your analytics, for example, your traffic, your page views, your click-through rate, all that stuff is how do you turn that into a story so it relates to your clients a little bit better so they understand it. So we're not babbling techno junk at them. And that was pretty good. So they looked at the 4 marketing objectives, which was build awareness, influence consideration, drive action, or grow loyalty. Those are the 4 marketing objectives that AdWords is attempting to solve. So we got that. That was pretty interesting. Let's see, what else is there? What is the average sale client spend? Those are some questions that they were asking. Explain the importance of quality score and how to improve it. Explain how ad rank and the ad auction works. Explain how you would measure results for AdWords, and explain the value of ad extensions. Now, those 4 topic points are actually good for you when you're actually pre-selling PPC management, or you're trying to get your boss on board. So you explain how the quality score works, how to improve it, how ad rank works, and how the auction works. So there you kind of demystify out of it, especially if you got people who are looking at their own panels. And if they know a little bit about what they're seeing inside of their AdWords accounts, it makes it a little bit better for them. Some questions for your clients goes into the what is the average sale, the average client spend, if 10 people click or call, how many turn into customers, and what is the lifetime value of the customer. So you ask those 3 questions, and then you answer those 4 questions, and then you can kind of get on to it. A couple of resources they gave was Think with Google. I think most of us have seen that. If you haven't, it's pretty much an email/blog. And it just kind of gives you some good insights daily, every other day kind of information. It's pretty good. And then there's a profit-driven marketer. So Google profit-driven marketer, and they have something like that supports that whole concept and goes along with those questions that I just mentioned before. If you're trying to sell marketing to your boss, you're trying to sell SEO or PPC to your boss, kind of uses credit score analogy that they gave. This is actually pretty good. So the higher your credit score, the lower the interest rate. The higher your quality score, the lower the bid requirement. It's kind of how the credit score analogy worked. I think it'll kind of work too with your SEO guys. So the higher your credit score, the lower the interest rate, the higher quality of your site, the higher your or the lower the less it requires of you to build links or that kind of thing. You kind of play with that one. I did that one off the fly, as you can tell. And then you promote your relationship with Google. If you're a Google partner, a badged Google partner, not just in the partners program, but you're a badged Google partner, that's something that you can show off. If you did like I did, you go to these Google trainings and you're trained by Google to kind of do this stuff, then highlight that as well. Don't be ashamed of your relationship with them. You're leveraging this platform to make money, so you might as well leverage it, go full out versus trying to be do like some people are doing and pretending they're on this high horse, but really they're just doing the same thing that you are, is leveraging Google to make money. So let's be fair and honest with ourselves and what we're doing, and take advantage of that and show it off. Another thing you can tell your clients, let's say if they are coming at you, it's going to cost $1,000 a month, and they come and, well, I only want to invest $250. You can just go ahead and answer the same thing. Just kind of do this ethically. If you don't have the right budget, it's just not going to work. So, save your money and do something else, and kind of walk away from that client or that, that opportunity. You can follow it up with, we can build the best ad campaign. If you don't fund it properly, it just won't work. And then, so I think that's pretty cool. Some features that I wanted to get into this. There's some 6 attribution models. So there's last click, first click, time decay, linear, position-based, and data-driven. Unless you're spending a lot of money, you're not going to get access to data-driven, but actually turn on the attribution models in your AdWords campaigns with linear and start there. Then you can play around with the rest of them. The last click and first click are actually not even recommended to use, so they're kind of there, but really Google's saying use the linear, position-based, or time decay for the most of us, for the average folks who don't have this ungodly ad spend. They can't get into the data-driven thing. That was pretty cool. They did mention that what they're looking for page speed for mobile is 2 to 3 seconds. So if your site is loading in 2 to 3 seconds, particularly on a mobile device, you're good to go. Don't get all wrapped up around the axle. We shoot for 2 to 3 seconds in our page speed optimization service. So I think that just kind of validates for us that we're on the right track. Enhanced cost per hit helps the account or does nothing at all. So if you're thinking about using enhanced CPC option inside of your AdWords, just go ahead and just know that it's either going to help you or it's not going to do anything at all. And that's straight out from Google. If you're running Google AdWords grants for nonprofits, they throttled down Google Grants Pro, which is where you upgrade your clients from 10K to 40K. They slowed that down a little bit, but now they're actually going to be bringing that back, which is good. And we asked when the full requirement to switch over from the old AdWords to the new one. They couldn't give us an exact date, but they did reply with winter is coming, so I think it's probably closer than it is far away at this point. They did say it was 80% done, and they're adding new features to it as we speak, so I think that'll kind of work out. Let's see what else. Remarketing lists for search ads. We're using remarketing and using the display network, but they're saying the remarketing list for search ads too should leverage those. They're actually doing really good. Let's see. There's an interesting data that they have was that 75% of all purchases start on a mobile, but they end on a desktop. So this kind of goes along with what I always surmised, is that mobile is great for information, you're watching videos, that kind of stuff, but not so much for conversions. People aren't doing it. I know I don't do it. I research something, I find it, and okay, that's great. Then I save the bookmark. iCloud makes that easy on my iPhone. and then I go back and buy it on my desktop. So people are doing that as well. But 75% of people are doing that as well. And then finally, I want to get into some new products that they're offering. If you are a badge Google partner and you have a Google rep, you give them a call and they see about turning these on for you. These are all in beta right now, so the general populace can't get them. So take advantage of that if you have a partner. If you are a badge partner and you have a representative you can get a hold of. So one is visual site links. You already know you can put your homepage, about page, contact us, and there's 4 of them, and it'll show it underneath your ad. The visual site links is taking it and turning it into a carousel, and each one of those pages, the contact us, about page, blah, 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 will all have images with them, which is really cool. They have a promotion extension, so if you're offering a 20% coupon, for example, you can actually add the promotion extension. So your ad will show, and then underneath it, there's your 20% coupon information. Shoppable for TrueView ads is there. Shopping showcase ads is coming. Life events, happy birthdays, those kind of things. You getting married, that kind of stuff. Those are being turned on here soon. They're in beta. You can ask for those. Consumer patterns on YouTube and Gmail. They're taking away. They removed what they were used to do is scan your emails and find out what you're talking about and then show you ads. Now they're just kind of showing the affinities kind of thing. And they enhanced that by adding consumer patterns for YouTube and Geo. In-market audiences for search, which is really cool. And capture shoppers with YouTube location extensions. This is awesome. So let's say you do a review video for a television and you have a store that sells televisions. You have your video up, you run your video ad, that displays as normal. And then underneath that will be a location setting to actually tell them how to get to your site to buy the TV. Or they can click the website, and all that shows in conversions. So you essentially take over the entire page with these different ad blocks. They showed us to us in inside of mobile, but it would be nice to see that going on regular YouTube as well. So I think for us, we're going to call and get our clients turned on to the promotions extensions and probably that capture shoppers with YouTube extensions. Those are the two I'm really excited about, and then I'm crazy excited about life events. So as an affiliate, you can think about what you can do with the birthdays and anniversaries and all that kind of stuff. So that'd be pretty interesting. If you're looking at making YouTube ads and you want an easy way to do it, they pointed out YouTube Director. I looked at that the other day. It looks pretty interesting. If you're using Google forwarding numbers in your ads, Google will use a Google number will be a local number, or if it's not available, to make it a 1-800 number. Type the question. Let's see what else. Maximize. 90% of users are on 2 million sites. That's for the Google Display Network. So there's 2 million sites. 90% of the users that are leveraging Google and their ads are on these 2 million sites, with 1,750 topics. So take advantage of the Google Display Network if you can. Let's see. And there's going to be a couple audiences types in there: in-market audience and customer affinity audiences. So that's pretty cool. That you can take advantage of that as well. The rest of it was really sales stuff. I won't bore you with it, but I will tell you that it was pretty good. It was really, really, really good, actually. And I'd like to. I kind of debated, well, do I want to share that with everybody, because it was awesome. And then if I can share it, how am I going to do that? So I might add that to a presentation, especially my SEO Rockstars presentation. That's coming up. You can reach out to me if you want a link. Find me on Facebook, or maybe I'll just start promoting that more, because I am speaking at it. So, but really, that was if you get an opportunity to take the account managers training with Google and the sales training with Google, do it. Even if you're not a sales guy or gal, it's really, really good. And it helped me a lot and helped me kind of refine my process. It's going to help in the webinars that we're going to start doing. It's going to help in all kinds of things. So I hope if you seek that out and seek that training opportunity. It's really well worth it. The guys that are doing it, it's not Google. Google pays these people to come in and train all the quote-unquote Googlers. Apple is looking at them to train all the people in their Apple stores. They've trained, like hotels.com and all kinds of other people. And it was probably one of the best and easiest ways to set up a sales call, make introductions with people, especially if you're introvert like me. Setting agendas for your meetings, and making a pitch, doing your 30 and 90-second commercials, all that stuff. They gave you a process for it. So versus, hey, just write this out and this 30-second commercial, they gave you actual step-by-steps of what to do and where to put it and how to say it, and it made it easy. And not only to you kind of get through that, especially again if you're an introvert like me, you just you don't publicly go out and talk to people every day, by design, by personality type, and this makes it easy for you to get through that and get through that process. So I think you should really take advantage of that. Again, I might put together my notes and do a whole webinar on that, and if I do, I'll let the mailing list know and my Facebook group. So if you're not a member of one of those, you should go ahead and sign up on the website, get on the list, so you know what those are coming at. You're going to really enjoy it. Okay, so our first blog is Kissmetrics blog. It is what Facebook Watch will mean for marketers. If you don't know what this is, you haven't heard about it. Basically, you know how YouTube and all the other streaming channels are kind of bringing in so you can show live sporting events, all that stuff, especially, like what they cited here is like Major League Baseball. You can watch Major League Baseball on Facebook. They're actually getting or testing it out and trying it with the big publishers, but they're supposedly going to bring it out so that everyone can leverage this. I think it's a great opportunity. Let's say you're doing a show like SEO This Week, for example. You're publishing it. You can create a TV show for SEO This Week or your business or whatever and kind of gain a little bit more exposure. Instead of, just pushing out YouTube videos, think of it as YouTube Live, but it's TV, and now it's on Facebook. So you're getting more engagement, and you're getting more exposure for you and your business, and I think it's going to be a pretty cool opportunity for marketers just to leverage and reach those people on Facebook a little bit better. A couple bonus features that are part of this is once you have a show, it actually connects your show and creates a Facebook group to the show. So all the people who watch your show can go into the Facebook group and interact, which really kind of boosts the touch points from this. And you can kind of, if you want to, if you're into the marketing thing, you monetize them that way. You're doing something like I do with SEO This Week. You can interact, talk about the stories, and then maybe if they like what you got to say, they reach out to you to be clients of yours, that kind of stuff. So I think it's a pretty cool concept, and I'm looking forward to when they roll it out to everybody. It is, again, they're just using it right now for big publishers, but I think it's going to be a good opportunity. So you read a little bit more about that on the Kissmetrics blog. And next you look at marketing professors, and it's how to find anyone's business email address. There's plenty of tools to do this. You can use, Find That Lead, Lead Kahuna, all kinds of scrapers. There's all kinds of software to do this, but what this one tells you is just kind of how to do it manually using search operators in Google. I won't go deep into it, but basically you just use a search operator, search out the person in the website you want to talk to, scan around, and then eventually you peel back the onion and find their email address. Then you use an email checker to verify it works, and then you send them out. Simple to do, especially if you're just kind of doing one-offs. If you're targeting very specific people,
and you don't need a bulk list. But if you're looking for a bulk list, this manual stuff, that's for the birds. Buy some software. We use Lead Kahuna in conjunction, and we also use Link Assistant when we're doing our guest posting stuff. So go that route instead. Next is Small Business Trends, 10 Facebook PPC tips to make your life easier. This one's pretty good. I actually like it. If you've read anything about Facebook PPC, then you probably already know most of this stuff. It was all rehashed stuff for me. So, but good things to point out. Facebook Pixels, honestly, we have that on the website. Our site, we just never used it forever. And finally put it on there and just kind of build an audience that way. Know the Facebook ad guidelines, remarket like a professional. If you're actually creating a remarketing list, it's going to take you a little bit, especially if you don't have a lot of traffic. Digitaleer, we get 200 visitors a day. Not a whole lot, but it's enough. And we'd like to see that go up, but it took time to build that audience, that custom audience on Facebook in order to use remarketing. So go ahead and try that out. Scale your campaigns, use high quality images, A/B testing, audience insights for validation. That's probably the highlight for this post for me is audience insights. And that tool, it gives you your demographics. It helps you narrow down that customer avatar a whole lot better. So I would try that out, especially if you're going to get into e-com stuff. You can, figure out by age, sex, marital status, all that stuff in order to set your targeting just right. But for the most part, again, this was a rehash for me, but check out that audience insights section. I think you're going to like the data in there. Then get into your Facebook audience insights in your own account and check it out and see what's available to you. Practical e-commerce, holiday email marketing. I said the last episode that it's probably a good time to start thinking about Christmas and in your holidays. Honestly, it's August, September is when you should start promoting for your December campaigns and getting all that stuff in line. Running some PPC to test the conversions and all that stuff. So when you fire it off in your heavy buying season, end November, all of December into Cyber Monday in January. Into Cyber Monday, then you want to, all that stuff needs to be there. Cyber Monday, Black Friday, all that stuff. It's got to be done. So one of the biggest highlights I get out of this is that there's no one, based off of what, the data source that they got, there's no one emailing people during lunchtime. But people normally check or sending their emails late in the day, at night, or throughout the morning. But they're skipping the lunchtime. So we're going to try that out. And so instead of sending our outreach for blog, for our outreach services, or sending for clients the cold email process that we go through, instead of sending it in the morning or in the evening, we'll send it at lunchtime. I think the thought process behind this is, if no one else is sending it at lunchtime, someone in their office, they leave for lunch, they come back, the first thing they do is check their emails, see what happens, right? So now no one else is sent, or the volume is really low, so you're more likely to get read than if you send it when everyone else is doing it. I know the first thing I do is get in there, push the shift control button and start deleting 30, 40 emails a day and then pick out the ones that I want to read. And at lunchtime, I'm more likely to go through one by one and check things out. So I think it's a good opportunity for you to just try it out. I'm not saying that it will work, but it's probably a good concept behind it. Send to lapsed customers, people who bought for you and just never came back. Check out your sales, maybe, and then request feedback for customers. We've talked about that before. Building your review system, getting a plan for that. Maybe even, you're changing your logo and send your customers like 4 or 5 different versions just so they can say, hey, I value your opinion. Can you help me out? The next site is SEO by the Sea, is using n-gram phrase models to generate site quality scores. So to put this in a little bit more of English, n-gram is word string. So 2, 3, 4, even up to 5 gram phrase. And then what it's looking is using the machine as the algorithm, kind of using that to determine your quality. This came out back in like the Panda-ish days, and it's pretty much what's driving the Panda algorithm. Now they are expanding it with this new patent, and basically they're going to do, or what the patent says they are going to do, is actually look at your anchor text as well. So if you don't know what anchor text is, it's, you have a backlink on a site and then your backlink says click here. Well, click here is your anchor text. And SEOs use anchor text in order to boost the relevancy of a page for a specific term, in the hopes of increasing the rankings. So now they're going to use this software, this patent, these engrams to look at your anchor text. Couple of things that they did point out is that it takes a lot of processing power to pull this off. So not every website is going to get a quality score. So my biggest question came out of, or at the end of the day for this, was if not every website is going to get looked at and get scored, which sites will Google deem enough to grade? So I think that's a good, you can read that conversation in the comment section with Bill and I, and get his opinions on it and what you think is left. I think it's going to be kind of along the big things, that I think that, those big sites that Google loves because they send a lot of ad traffic to them will ultimately be the ones that get graded quality score. So could you add AdSense to your site to help increase the opportunity that you're going to get a quality score? I'm sure that's a possibility. You want to try it out. I also go along the lines that I don't think Google's going to publish this information regardless. So the whole PageRank system's dead, and I don't see that coming back anytime soon. So what does this mean for us? Well, honestly, it's probably just stay the course with your anchor text and how you're building your backlinks, etc., and just making good quality sites. Don't put out gibberish out there and expect to rank. Small business trends. Believing these 3 myths can duplicate content will keep your business from growing. Duplicate content. Google has said it. I've said it. Other SEOs have said it. I just don't know how much more to tell you. There is no duplicate content penalty. Now, let's say you have 10 pages on your website and they all have the exact same thing, and Google ranks one of them for number 1. They're not going to rank the other 9 pages on your website. They're going to filter that out. But that's not a penalty. That's a filter. So let's be clear on that. So if you're trying to rank multiple pages for the same keyword, then you're going to run into the filter, not a penalty, and it's not a duplicate content issue. So just be cognizant of that. A couple things that, it's on your site. Local is really, really, you can get away with a lot more duplicate content on your site because it's just the nature of a local website. Google knows it, Google understands it, and that's why some of those mass page builder stuff works so well with minimal changes in between the different pages, because Google kind of expects that. And those guys are leveraging that using mass page builders. I don't suggest you do that. It's eventually Google's gonna go through and quality score your site and see what you did and just kill it anyway. So based off a manual review, but the algorithm is not going to penalize you or to demote your pages because it's all the same. So just know that happens. It's there. You can take care of some of that stuff using, if you're on WordPress, using Yoast and things, but it's not going to kill you. Okay, scrapers is next, and that's when people, like, let's say you have an RSS feed, or they're using some software. They go to your website, take all your stuff, and then change it a little bit, and then post it up there. Is that really going to hurt you? Well, if your page is indexed and it's ranking number 1, for instance, for a thing, and someone goes and takes it, then Google's not going to give them the credit over yours in all cases. No, that's not to mean that it won't ever happen. I've seen it happen. where you take one page and you put the content on a more authoritative site, and that more authoritative site takes over. That's just something you it's authority and backlinks and all that stuff that you kind of have to deal with. But if it's your content, it's got a backlink on it, is it necessarily a bad thing if all roads point to you? So kind of think of it that way. There are scrapers. They do take content. It does, give webmasters a headache because, again, if they're putting it on sites that have more power, especially if you got a brand new website and they take your content and put it on a more authoritative thing, it's going to outrank your content. But everything will work out in a wash. That's just why it's really important that you're indexing your stuff as soon as you publish it. Use the Search Console submit tool and get your stuff indexed as soon as you publish it. And now it's in there, and that's yours. You're the original source. If they find more stuff, for the most part, they're going to filter everyone else out and keep yours there because you are the original content poster. Again, you can beat it with authority sites or sites with more authority than yours, but it's just one way to do it. And I just, honestly don't worry about it in so much as, putting things where you're blocking the right clicks and all that other stuff. It's just a headache. And if they're sharing your stuff and you get some backlinks, you get some mentions to your website, then it's good for you in the end because they're kind of promoting you anyway, and they're just doing it on your site. So look at it, but honestly, don't waste a whole lot of time with it. I know people that run around and chase people all over the internet and threaten DCMAs and all that other stuff. It's just, that's not making you any money. So why bother? Go on to the next piece of content or enhance the content that was quote unquote stolen to make it 10 times better, because now you know that it's, people will like it as quality, and you enhance it and promote it even more, and then you're good to go. And then there's no way to reuse content is myth number 3. One thing I like to point out, especially when someone says this, you shouldn't reuse your content. SEO This Week is published in PDF format. It's published in video format. We do the podcast on iTunes. And I used to actually put it on to other sites as well, but honestly, it just got too much work. But it wasn't hurting me because it was leveraging other powers, and it was linking back to SEO This Week, and it's, the page is linking back to my site. It's building my brand. So go ahead and do it. If you put out an epic piece of content, we did the on-page SEO guide, for an example. It's 17,000 words, I think is what it ended up being. Probably a little bit less. I forget the word count, but we put it on PDF too, and you upload that to SlideShare. That's exposure for you. That's exposure for your business. So do it. Promote your content. If it means copying it and sending it, putting it on a different site. Again, if the site that you're putting it on has more authority than yours, it's going to outrank you. But who cares, because it's your content, your call to actions are in there, your branding is in there. It's all about you and your business, and that's more exposure for you. So if you take over the top 5 sites or listings for your target keyword with all of your other properties, and your site is last, it doesn't matter. You still own the top 5 sites. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's not going to kill you to use those things. So that's where that's going. Next, we go to the Moz Blog is 10 things that do not directly affect your Google rankings, the Whiteboard Friday. Okay, so I'll go through this and talk about each one of these things, especially if you're listening to the podcast. So number 1 is the age of your website. I found that the age of your website does not matter. I have a couple of websites registered in the 90s. I'm not getting anything out of that. No extra boost in rankings. And I can't see anyone else that says that an age domain is getting more special treatment in the rankings. I will say that age domains take a little bit less work at the end, because there's kind of a trust pattern that goes on there. But that's really, if it's already been indexed, it's still indexed. Google knows, likes, and trusted. It's been in there for a while. It's already established itself. No one's spammed it to hell. Then if you can get access to those kind of sites, then go for it, or domains, then go for it. and keep the site and carry over and just build upon that, and then you might get, that's the quote unquote domain authority of it is already there. So that in that case it might help you. So if you have opportunity to buy an established site versus starting a new one, then go with the established one all day long. Number 2 is whether you do or do not use Google services or apps. Yeah, if you're buying, like, if you're using AdSense on your sites, or you use Google Docs, the Google Apps paid thing, you have Google Analytics, and Google really doesn't care in so much as a ranking thing, but it does help establish your brand and your brand trust with Google. And we've tested that and seen that where, like even on Digitaleer, we bought a Google Apps. It's running on the same credit card. It's connected to the Google My Business stuff. I've established that I'm a real business inside of Google by using those services. My suggestion, you go out and do it. No, I didn't see any rankings boost from it. My ad click didn't go down. They're still charging me for my Google Apps thing, my paid Gmail stuff. So it's not really going to benefit you in any way, in my opinion, in so much other than just to kind of help establish you, or build that, that trust factor with the company, whether or not all that stuff is interconnected into the algorithms, which I highly doubt anyway. But it does establish trust. So when you're looking at manual reviews or talking to them, then maybe that'll help you out a little bit. Number 3, likes, shares, plus ones, and tweets of your web pages don't count. Likes, plus ones we've seen correlated for some keywords, and then other keywords they don't. Those are, they each one of those plus ones generates, depending on the settings that the user has, could generate a possible backlink inside of Google Plus. So a share inside of Google Plus generates its own unique link. A share inside of Facebook generates its own unique link, especially if it's on a profile or page, and those two matter. Google's not indexing the individual post and stuff for the most part, but they are looking at the pages, and they are indexing the pages, so it's a backlink. So I kind of agree with this, and then I don't. Again, not all shares and plus ones are equal. If you have really good the platforms, the people that are sharing it or driving traffic to you through those shares, that's way better than just having the share counts. But again, it's on a case-by-case basis, especially for the plus ones. Where, again, we've seen sites that correlate, where the top, the first page is correlation. Again, correlation is not causation, but you can pretty much, if it's correlating, then why not do it, right? So plus ones have shown in some specific keywords to actually to matter, so, or to be a thing. So I would do it. Again, software tools, we've tried those. They used to work a lot better than they do now. We've bought in social shares, and we just let it do manually. Not really see much of the difference, other than, like I said before, plus ones creates a backlink, shares create a backlink on Facebook, and tweets create backlinks on Twitter. So, can you go out and buy a whole bunch of them and have it make a difference? I don't think so. It really depends on the power of the account, the people, the traffic that comes through it, all that stuff. So it's not a myth busted, but it's plausible. Let's put it that way. Number 4 is rate your bounce rate on your site, or your time on site. Raw bounce rate is what they put it, or time on site. If your traffic is not coming from the search engines, and it's coming from your referral traffic and your other backlinks and stuff, I don't see that the bounce rate really matters. We've manipulated it with code. You can get it down to almost 0 if you want to. It's not going to increase your rankings. I think the thing is the bounce from the search. You get a click from the search, and then they bounce right back to the search because your site's not related. Google's going to notice that, so that might, that could be a factor. But not always. So I think it's, really, you just want to look at bounce rate. You want to get it below 65%, just to say that you're providing good content. You're providing what people want to read and see. If you have a landing page, though, and your bounce rate is 98%, well, guess what? It's kind of expected because it's a landing page and it has a specific goal to get them off of that page and sign up for X, Y, and Z. So I see where bounce rate from the search could be a factor, but I don't see bounce rate on the entire site being a factor. There's just so much data to correlate, so many users on the internet, so many websites. There's no, feasibly, the processing power of computers would have to be crazy in order to do that for every website. So it's not a feasible metric, in my opinion. Number 5 is the tech on your site's hood. We've tested this. Basically, HTML errors, React.NET errors, etc. If Google can read the code, then you're good. They don't really care about it for the rest of it. If they can't read it, they can't figure out what your website's about, then it's going to affect you. But if they can read it, but you still have all those W3C errors and all that other stuff, Google doesn't care. We've tested that with the Search Intelligence Agency. We've tested it on our own. It's not a factor. Number 6, having or not having knowledge panel site links for your brand name. Site links, again, you can get them for ads, but you can also have that pop up when you search for your brand and then get home name, contacts, and all that other stuff. But just because Google's giving it to you doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get increased ranks. It does give you an indication that they're starting to trust you a little bit more, especially if if they do it on their own. So I would consider that a plus because it's more opportunities. You know that your branding is on point, but it's not going to help you ranking for your money terms. Unless your money term is just your brand, and then there you go, you increase your click-through rate. Number 7 is shared hosting and interspective hosting options. I hate shared hosting. It's because for most websites, especially if you're going to do a lot of content, you make a lot of edits and stuff, if you're a local business, and you just kind of want to keep your costs down, you don't plan on blogging and doing all that stuff, and you're just going to make a 5-page website that just sits there and collects phone numbers for you, hopefully. Then share hosting is fine, but for the most part, it's unsecured. If you get hacked, they're going to charge you ungodly amounts of money to get it fixed, even if you can prove that the hack is crossing not through your individual website, but it's crossing through the server. They're still going to charge you for it to get it fixed. So, but in the end, as it relates to your rankings, if your website is slow, then it's going to affect your rankings. But other than that, Google doesn't care what kind of host you're on. So as a page speed nut, we go with Liquid Web. We recommend that to everybody. But because their servers are quick and they're reliable and the customer support is awesome. So, but I'll never use another shared hosting account again. Let's see. Use defaults. Google already assumes. So basically, if you're using Meta Robots and you put follow index, it doesn't matter because it's follow index already, unless you put no follow, no index. XML sitemaps importance, changing that doesn't matter. By default, it's all they're gonna do what they do unless you change it and tell it to slow down. You lower the importance level. But by default, it's all number 1. And then all links are follow unless you put no follow. So if you add all that other stuff, it's just really just kind of bloating out your code. It's not really helping you in your rankings. And it won't improve an index. Character separators, we used a little dot. Some people use lines, dashes, use semicolons. Google has a caret. It reads the keyword and then the phrase behind the separator. It doesn't read the separator. And then H1s versus H2s versus H3s. Here's where this one comes in. I get what Rand is saying. He's saying that it doesn't matter if you have H1 versus H2 versus H3. Like there's some WordPress themes, for example, where developers don't use H1 for your title. They use H2. Is it the end of the world? Grant says there is no difference between using H1 and H2, but we've seen testing where the H1 outranks the H2. We've seen testing where the H2 outranks the H3. I think it does. In single variable testing, I believe that it does. So you should have H1, you should have H2, H3, and H4 in all of your content. And that should be optimized in a specific way. I go over that in the on-page optimization guide, and we're going to do some videos and some training on that too, to kind of boost the understanding of that. But you need to leverage those because this is the topic, H1, and here's the subtopic, and here's the subtopics underneath those subtopics, which is H2, 3, and 4. So you should leverage those. Rand says it doesn't matter; those are only CSS, but our single variable testing and our real world testing experience and using these and using the different H tags tells us different. That said, let's say your blog has H2s and you're not a coder, you don't want to hire anyone to change it, then just leave it to H2s. Is it gonna be an end of the world thing for you? Probably not, unless you have a really high competitive market and every little bit counts. Then you want to go ahead and look into getting those changed. But for the most part, you can leave it at H2, and I think you're going to be okay. So that is that for that video. We stay over at Moz as how to prioritize SEO tests, and there's actually a WordPress or an Excel spreadsheet that goes along with this. If you don't read the post, come and at least get the spreadsheet. It's pretty cool and interesting, kind of get the brain juices flowing. But some things that they go over is start with the end in mind, identify important pages for conversions. You should do that anyway. As a part of, hey, this page is working. Awesome. Let's make sure that it's there. And if it's not working, then kind of figure out why. 404 errors, again, those are normal on normal sites, but if pages are just broken, that might be something else that you want to look at. And then time management stuff. And reporting and communications. That's, basically, as an SEO, you can get dug into the weeds, and if you don't have a set structure of things that you're going to look at, you can chase rabbit holes all day long. It's one of the beauties of SEO is you kind of just don't know all the time what's working and what's not, so you can you dig into that and dig into it. And when you're looking at client work, specifically, you need to have a plan and an outline and an agenda of what you're going to do to kind of prioritize that. That way you get out the big winners and hide the rest. Let's see. Marketingexperiments.com is the next one. Marketing is not about making claims. It's about fostering conclusions. This is an A/B testing example. It's actually pretty cool. It takes, that real typical salesy sales letter and then compares it against one that's not so much just stating facts and doing away with all the sales mumbo jumbo. And the ones without sales mumbo jumbo actually converted 34% more than the relative difference. So they only converted 1.1% more than the control, but that relative difference is significant, especially when you're talking about dollars and cents and high dollar products, or maybe even a recurring subscription product like the example here. I like these because it gives you ideas of what you can do for your copy. If you have, you just have this hang up and you don't like being salesy, well, this says that salesy kind of stuff, particularly in this market, is not what works. What works is just stating the facts as they are on the product, and then that's converting. So check out this site, specifically this page, and I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to keep coming back to this site from now on. They're doing some really good marketing tests. And then we're going to close it out with Bright Edge SEO's blog and ranking for multiple keywords at once. I'm very, very careful when I talk about these posts because ranking for multiple keywords at once it's the benefit Google gives you for writing really good content and optimizing it in a certain way. So when I talked about those H tags, for instance, on the other post, my target keyword is the H1 tag, and then my second H2 and H3s are actually related search terms, and then I go back to my target keyword for my H4 tag. What it is doing is I'm now, because those H tags have those related keywords, I'm ranking for those related terms, and they're also pulling out rankings for the other ones. So that's how you actually rank for multiple terms.
do not optimize your pages for more than one term, because that one term is what your keyword research told you is, this is my money term. These were all related, but they're not going to get me the sales that this money term gives me. So you optimize for your main term, and then you build and you add the extra, do the extra checks like the H1, the H tags trick I just told you, are adding LSIs and all that stuff to your really good content. Which, you know, basically, if you're writing content about, for example, on page SEO, you're going to say terms that LSI does because you're writing a good piece about on page SEO. So it's, you know, it's not really something that you want to get down in the rabbit hole for. A lot of people brag, oh, I rank multiple pages. It's, and that's all fine and dandy. But it wasn't that they added all these other keywords that helped them out. It's that because they did a good job of putting those keywords or those terms in the right places inside of their content, and it was related, and Google rewarded them for doing that. So don't intentionally go out and try to rank for multiple keywords. Rank for one, and then add that other stuff to increase usability and understanding of what you're actually talking about, and Google will reward you for it. And this blog actually goes into that and just talks about some monthly searches, and then branded traffic. And basically what they did is they changed the name from Ollie's Cod Bar, and then added shrimp. And then Google said, oh, look, they're a shrimp bar too. So then they started ranking them for not only for shrimp, but also calamari, which is, you know, another name for shrimp. It's a version of shrimp, right? So that's the real highlight here. So I think you know, take it for what it is, and just kind of learn about how to inject related terms in the right places inside of your content to help Google decide that your stuff is good enough to rank for multiple terms. But don't specifically go out trying to rank for multiple terms. In the shrimp calamari example, all they did was add squid, or shrimp. What did they do? It was squid. They added squid to the brand name, and then they started ranking for calamari. I read that wrong earlier, so I said shrimp, but it's squid. So they added squid, but they didn't add calamari anywhere in the content, and they still saw their rankings come from the calamari insurance in this example. So look at it, check it out, and then kind of understand what it means to actually be able to rank for multiple keywords at once, versus all those lazy people that are telling you to optimize your one piece of content for multiple words. So if you try to be everything to everyone, you're going to be nothing to everyone. So just kind of there's my warning there, and my stance on ranking for multiple keywords. All right, that's it. SEO This Week, episode 51. I know it's a long one, but I hope the AdWords stuff was really insightful for you. I hope my deep dive into the Moz video really helped you out and figure those points. And I hope you enjoy the rest of that content, and I appreciate you listening. Again, if you want to get updates on when the SEO This Week comes out, sign up for the email list, get the download for the on-page SEO guide, or give us a review on iTunes. We'd appreciate that too. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great week.